What about this cat?
Oh, the cat's fine. The cat's fine. Okay, guys and dolls. If you can keep a wee eye on it, mate. Make sure the sound's okay. The guys will give me a sound check. If you've got it on your phone, Eddie, you can just check the comments on your phone sitting next to us. You know, you can just bring the live up on your own phone if you want. So yeah, and anybody else, any moderators around close by, you know. So don't say too much, but you know, yeah, that would be brilliant. Yep, that would be brilliant. Thank you. Here you go. So yeah, you're live on Freedom Dad's channel, and I'm sitting here with John Downs, who is a YouTuber from Southern Ireland. Do you like this? Introduce yourself and just tell people what you do online, what kind of thing you do, and where they can find you.
Yeah, my name is John Downs. I'm from Limerick. I do an awful lot of stuff, mostly on Facebook. I've started a YouTube channel. I have a couple of videos up on it, but it's mostly to do with the activism of athletics. Yeah. But I've also done a couple of podcasts regarding what I see coming down the line in terms of migration into our country, the problems that it's going to bring, the problems that we are having, the lack of services. And I've decided to get more into that and highlight that more because people...
Are you a father?
I'm a father. I've got 2 boys. I've got a Down syndrome daughter who I'm really worried about her future, to be quite honest. And that's why I've kind of gone on this route, because currently at the moment, there is no services in terms of like buses to school at the moment, because the money's gone in other places and we know where it's gone. And it's a worry for the future in terms of if that's going to go, will the likes of live-in care for somebody like her go? And it's not just me, it's thousands of people like me in Southern Ireland where they're missing out on certain things where they should be getting grants.
So was that the first, because I was involved in Cairn with my mother-in-law and stuff like that a long time ago, and I noticed changes as the years went by. Is that what first made you aware that something wasn't right in your country because you were involved with the care system with your daughter having Down syndrome and, you know, the help that you needed?
Well, it especially came out during COVID, because basically she was in what we call primary school, infant school, and she went through all that process. And when it came to going to secondary school, it was blocked. There was no place for her. There was no services there for her. And a certain spectrum got in there, which was great for them, but other spectrums missed out. So the likes of Asperger's missed out, Friedreich ataxia missed out, Down syndrome missed out, and stuff like that. But I'm also somebody that's in the last years kind of had my eyes opened as to what's going on, and I seen stuff in athletics that I've been calling out for 6 and 7 years, which I've been correct on. But I also started to join the dots in as to what was happening with people from disabilities and so on.
Can you elaborate on what you're talking about with athletics? So just for my community.
Well,
just the main thing.
I know what I'm speaking of because I'm an All-Ireland senior cross-country champion, and I've also won the British cross-country championships. And I've coached at a high level in England, coached guys to beat Mo Farah in the national 5,000 meters, and so on. So I've worked in that field and I understand it. But what's going on currently there at the moment is they're trying to kill that system because they want to try and go through universities, high-performance hubs in universities. And by going that way, it means all people. So if I went out and found, let's say, Mo Farah in the morning, I'm entitled to go to lottery funding. My county, my club is entitled to go to lottery funding. My area, that could be the north of England, Midlands, south. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to go through a core university system which gets rid of everything.
Why?
So because it's about reducing cost. Right? And we also want to put people in place that are in control. So whether they do a good or bad job, they're in control. And it's very bad on them if somebody from the outside system who is a volunteer coach has athletes beating people that are paid to be inside working in the system, which shouldn't be happening, to be quite honest with you. So what has happened to try and get rid of a lot of those coaches and officials? There's been a lot of hearsay and allegations against those coaches and officials to get rid of them. And I called out that this was going to come. I called out that high performance university hubs were going to come. Everybody said I was really mad, but I've been proven right. And it is actually in the England Athletics Manifesto to go through Loughborough, to go through Leeds Beckett, to go through Birmingham University, and so on. And that will go through the country where there'll be 8 university hubs and there'll be high performance. The problem with that then is after college, what's going to be there for them? It would be like saying, right, we're going to get rid of every amateur soccer team in the north of Ireland, and we're going to go through Ulster University, we're going to go through Derry University, and so on.
Does that not leave... what about working class people that don't get through university? Would they be missed?
That's the problem.
Right.
It's a case of tough shit.
So
because they actually say they care about grassroots, but the proof of the pudding is in their actions.
Yeah.
And them actions are actually a kind of a system where you get abused and used and thrown away like a dishcloth. And it's what's coming off the conveyor belt from behind, because they're selling these people that are running at a high performance level. What are they landing? They're landing in terms of like Olympic champions and so on. But then by the time they get to 20, 22 years of age, they realize this isn't a very fair system. And a lot of the, what would I call it, the opportunities. Like, so when I was in England, I used to go away with lads from England, from different clubs up north of England, middle and south, whatever. And we used to go to France, Holland, Belgium, Germany, Italy to race. All those races are gone. And this is not just in Britain, it's in Europe. And this is a worldwide thing that's going on about reducing opportunities and events for people to try and do well and prosper. And that's gone. That has died.
Did that lead you down a rabbit hole, or where did that take you?
Well, it in terms of seeing what was coming regarding the system with COVID and all that, I seen straight away that this was a scam. It's not trying to sound smart. It just looked all wrong to me. And I'd read a thing in 2016 called Agenda 2021. Like there's now Agenda 2030. And when I looked at it, I seen that, hang on a second, they want to get rid of Down syndrome kids at full term. And there was the other things that were going to come in. They were on about vaccines and vaccinations in terms of the pandemic. So I kind of dismissed that because I didn't know what left wing was or right wing was. I had no interest in it. I genuinely didn't know what it was. And I would have been somebody that's against injustice. So in one sense, I would be seen as a liberal. But when I seen what was coming, I'm just probably centre right and far right now, as well. So people call me, but as a lot of people say, I'm right so far, you know what I mean? But it was about opening your eyes up and seeing what was going to be taken away from everyone. It's not about whether you're Irish or British or that. It's Sweden, it's Austria, it's Germany, it's France, it's New Zealand, it's Australia.
That's a good point, because like we are one of my not arguments, but my advice to the people of both sides of the north and the south, you know, of in Northern Ireland and Ulster and Southern Ireland, is we do need to come together in a way to communicate, you know what I mean? Because like this is it's not just affecting us, this is bigger than us. And you know, when you look at it like that, when you put that across about being through Europe, and we're just looking at Britain, we're just looking at England and how bad England is and all the things, and this is a different this is something that's we are not seeing, because you know, this is something that's a specialist topic that you know personally about. And it's adding to everything that we're finding out from all different directions.
Well, I've seen it from a sporting side. I've seen it from a sporting side. And like, if you might know athletics, but if you looked at it from a point of view in terms of the athletes that competed and what they used to go to in Spain, like for cross country in Europe at one stage, there was 193 cross country races. There's now 23. So in 20 years, 170 have disappeared. They've been taken down. So that pathway, that opportunity, that learning ground has all been destroyed. And it's a case of, if you want to get an England invest now, you can get it, but you'll be competing in England against Wales or against Scotland. And the home countries, England, Scotland, Wales, and UK athletics, they're bankrupt. But they're getting paid behind the scenes, I believe, by NGOs to keep going, because financially they should be gone by now.
So why is there NGOs involved?
Well, NGOs control power, and if you want to have the system go through in terms of, let's say, getting rid of all the athletic clubs and stuff like that, you see, it's like when Christine Lagarde came over and the IMF came over to Ireland and the bond bailout and stuff like that, and the Troika, you have to do the bailout and bomb the bondholders and the taxpayer, basically. It's about enslaving you in debt. It's never about getting rid of the debt. It's about enslaving you in debt, and by enslaving you in debt, they always have you. But if you're able to get out and look after yourself, you're a problem. It's like if you're able to fix your own health, you're a problem. So it's very well designed that this is about bringing down that you will have no opportunities, you will have no way forward. So what you're interested in your community, what you're into, your lived experience of your community, you want to keep. You want to keep experience that. You want your kids to experience that.
Can I just add at this point as well, guys? You know, when we're talking about this, the opportunities that are being missed in our communities now, and it's across the board. I spoke to a guy, as you know, when we're down in Bangor, when I was doing a live, I think his guy name's Reese, and he was talking about the refereeing side of things and what he's seeing in the football and the young ones coming up and how it's changing. It's a wee bit different than this, but it's the same sort of thing where opportunities for us are diminishing. And we live in a situation right now where we do have problems with mental health with our youth and our younger ones, you know, and primarily because of COVID, a lot came with that, you know what I mean? But, you know, here we have something that would work. It would be an outlet for our young to, you know, how many kids have we got right now? Maybe taking antidepressants and other medication, you know. And this is for entertainment and educational purpose only. And you do not take any advice from me. I'm not a doctor. You know, this is just my opinions. And you know, how many kids is there out there that would be bright stars in the world of athletics and running and track and field that aren't getting that opportunity
well,
right
the
now?
reason I got into athletics and that because and I've always tried to show to people it's the pathways and doors that opens up in terms of scholarships to America, getting references to go into university or jobs from the coaches or the officials that you get to know through the
That you
club.
wouldn't normally have a chance if you weren't.
Yeah, but the other thing is everybody gets a chance to compete. It's like whether it's hockey, whether it's rugby, whether it's soccer or Gaelic football, hurling, basketball. If you're not good enough, you're a sub. So when I used to go into schools to promote schools athletics, it was about getting everybody. If there's that kid over there could do the shot put, great. And it didn't have to be the best of the shot put, but it still got to compete because it got to compete in an area that where there was something for them. They were never a spectator. They were never a substitute.
Yeah.
They never didn't get on and felt Johnny didn't get on this weekend, and you've got a mum and dad looking at him, which is heartbreaking.
Is it reversible? Is that reversible?
Everything's reversible if you get the right leadership.
Right.
Everything's about leadership.
Yeah.
If you get the right people in to do something, like I got involved with a club. There were 17 kids in the club. They hadn't won in All Ireland for 33 years. I got involved. Within 2 years, I had 285 kids inside the club, and there was a waiting list for a year to get in.
Yeah.
So you were opening up pathways, and then it was about talking to international athletes who would achieve stuff to come down and coach hurdles, which is something I wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But I've been around enough people in my day. I used to be around in for Christie's coach, Ron Rodden, and we used to run with him down in Thames Valley Track. I used to be around all the people like John Childs, who used to look after Northern Ireland athletes from here, Llewellyns and stuff like that, who used to do 400-meter hurdles. So I was experiencing all these different people. Alan Bertram, who used to coach the hammer for British international athletes. I was around him. So I had the rudiments of what to do and coach, but it's all about inspiration. It's also about telling them, listen, you could be good enough at this.
Yeah.
You should come down to the club. And then when they came to the club, I was the contact from the school in the club, and they were made feel at home. Because I brought kids in that couldn't talk to you. They were introverted. They were no confidence, especially girls. Within 6 months, they'd walk in like they were owning the place because you give them purpose.
Yeah.
You give them a meaning to say, listen, you can do this. You can have a social circle, because they didn't have it. And that's how you cure a lot of these mental stuff. It's getting the right people and believing in them and just open up doors for them and telling them they're good.
So how did you deal with that? What was the step for you to do YouTubes and like going down the route of anti-immigration, whether know, with everything you see and what I've seen you talking about and why we're together is because we know we're on the same page, you know, but we've got different reasons for getting to that.
Well, I'll ask you in a minute what was your catalyst, but the catalyst probably was reading that 2016, 2021 agenda and then just dismissing it and then seeing things coming. And then looking at my own country, like, you know, they're on about we haven't got much in Ireland and stuff like that, and we've had to get into these multinationals. But in 1987, we gave away our forestry for 1 punt in a fiscal transaction to Germany because we owed them that much money. So they took the forestry, every tree in Ireland for 1 punt. We've given away our sugar factories, both in Mallow and Carlow, and now we're importing sugar when we used to make it in our own country. And the side thing of that was the pulp was in there to feed the cattle as fodder, which was cheap and used to come from the factories. We've lost the likes of our fishing industry, where in Britain and Ireland, basically the fishery guys that go around and inspect and that stop we fishing the waters arrest our own people when they don't stop Norwegian or Spanish or Italian or Portuguese trawlers. We've got off the west coast of Ireland, we've got Shell Oil and Gas, which we never got a cent out of. It's been given away. You know, it's just, and we've people coming in to work in the forestry that do come in are either Finnish or Austrian to cut the timber. It's not local. You look at what you've lost in Northern Ireland. You look linen and textile industry, and you lost Harlan Wolff. Now people say that's great. It's been replaced by pharmaceutical and let's say digital, like Yahoo and so on. But they're not from here. Yes, and if they leave, what have you got? So you're down to to nothing. You look what's gone in Britain. You look at
the
Aston Martin. You look at Vauxhall that's gone.
Are leaving every minute.
Yeah, because anybody wants to work, and then you got Starmer coming after them for 91% inheritance tax on farm.
That was
so everything we have has been taken away. That we have no options to move left or right.
Yeah.
So we're unself-financing, and we're relying on the likes of Europe when we should be able to look after ourselves, and we can look after ourselves. Again, comes down to real leadership and good leadership.
Yeah.
We should be able to get rid of our politicians who've taken away all the industries in Ireland that would make us self-sustainable and have us loaded with money. We should be like in Norway. Britain is the same. Britain has lost so much. Like I said to you, Rover's gone. Aston Martin is gone. Vauxhall is gone. British Steel is gone. And they sold British Steel to to Chorus initially from Holland. And then they sold it to Tata to India.
Yeah.
So we're now importing stuff in that we could make at home,
Yeah.
but it was made unsustainable by our very politicians who should have never let the marketplace dictate.
Talking about Tata Steel, you're talking about.
Yeah.
So talking about Tata Steel, when they shut the one in I think it was in Scotland, I'm not in the neighbour city in case I get it wrong. I'm sure it was Glasgow or Edinburgh, and then they built the Queensferry Bridge. That's the new one next to the Fortsworth Bridge, and they actually brought the steel for that in from China.
Yeah.
After, and it didn't make it, even that somebody like me is just watching it on the news and seeing all this going on and them trying to save it and maybe a bailout, and then no bailout, all the jobs are gone. And the next thing they built the Queensferry Bridge and they bought the steel from China. So it is concerning. It's happening with copper, they're banning all their gold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly. So what you're doing is you're taking away the actual jobs and the actual resources that are available in your country and giving them away to somebody else. Because somebody has to be getting a brown envelope in their back pocket somewhere for that to happen. Otherwise, you'll be saying, no, we need to maintain our jobs. We need to keep it. If you go all the way back to Henry Ford, he used to pay his workers when he first invented the Ford company. He used to pay his workers very, very, very well. The reason he paid them very, very well, and all his, solicitors and people behind him in the board were saying, you're mad. What are you paying him so well for? He's paying so well because they're going to buy my product. So he was giving them money to get his money back.
Yeah.
And what should happen is all the taxes we're paying, we shouldn't be paying, but we should be paying taxes for what we buy.
Yeah.
And that's how we get money going through the economy to pay for services.
Yeah.
The problem is you only look at charities, you look at everything. I called out the charities in 2010 and I said they're raping athletics because they come in, they compete. I give an example. The amount of, let's say, GA clubs that put on road races to bring money into the club. But if I wanted to put on a GA match inside in a GA field to raise money for athletics, I'd be laughed out of it. So it's about how you control what's been done to you. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't have any control.
Yeah, that's clear. Yeah, we can see that. Well, you asked about me. Basically, like I've been involved in right-wing politics for a very long time, coming from Northern Ireland, it sort of just was one of them things, you know what I mean, with the unionist and being part of the union and stuff like that. So it's always been held dear to me and it's always been threatened and we've been fighting. It's been, like even today we get kneecapped, they're Brits out, they still want me out of my home, you know what I mean? So when we seen what was going on 15, 20 years ago and the silencing of Tommy Robinson, it is basically down to that that's raised my eyebrow, and that's the truth, because I knew a bit about the boy as he was coming up, and because I was in England when I was 18, and got made contacts and friends through life, as you do. So knew about the EDL and knew about the people who were in it, and knew there was black guys and there was even Sikhs in it at one stage. I knew Tommy Robinson wasn't a racist, you know what I mean? And then the way the government turned and how prime ministers were speaking about him in Parliament, it made me realise that something bigger was going on, So I pay close attention for all the end but at that stage, because of when I got into my 40s, I've done a lot of time in prisons, done 18 years for bank robberies, as the papers like to tell everybody. And, it's, I moved on in life and getting involved in anything with the jail, I was sort of relaxed. I was sort of retired, for want of a better word, you know what I mean? And I was working, had a couple of vans going and doing the scrap and recycling and stuff like that in markets, And then I had a baby, and that's what really made that was it. It was a trigger, or whether it was an awakening, maybe I wasn't invested enough, maybe maybe I'm guilty of that, of some people in the country that just think somebody else will deal with it as well. I don't know what reason I never became more active, but having a baby and feeling the baby in my baby's mama's belly it just done something to me, and I made a decision that I had experience with prison, I've experience with the law, and I know quite a lot about the right wing of politics, and I thought who's behind. It was also at the time when other YouTubers were shutting down and people weren't getting arrested and everybody's just scared to say anything, and I knew what you could say. I knew our freedoms of speech, I knew our constitution, I knew our right to criticize the government, and I just done what I thought I could get away with, you know what I mean? And as the time moved on, you could say more and more. At first you couldn't mention the grooming gangs, you couldn't talk about Islam in any way at all, and then slowly as the facts came out and they couldn't suppress it any longer, the social media platforms were turning around to the government and saying, well, we can't shut these guys down any longer because it's the truth, and it was always the truth, but because of it being suppressed, it was difficult for a lot of guys, you know what I mean? So as we've moved forward, we've learned from England, we're learning all the time, we learn the tactics of the media, how the media and the government work together, and how they use people in our communities to cause friction, to break down what any of us, any man, father, grandfather, mother, grandmother, auntie, uncle is trying to build to protect what we see is coming. So can you tell people in Northern Ireland, from your point in Ireland, just your experience of what other changes and what other things it's made you change or made you step up a wee bit more and spend a bit of time concentrating on what you're going to leave behind, you're going to leave behind?
Well, I've obviously been watching a lot of you guys, and I don't try and copy what everybody's doing, because there's enough people doing that, that we can call out yourself, Lindsey Brown, you got the likes of Paul Thorpe, you got Paz49, you got History Debunked, you got Preston Journalist, you got loads of people that's putting that sort of stuff out, Andy the Gabby Cabby and all that.
No risk, no reward.
No, exactly, no risk, no reward. Val Martin, you got the likes of Malachy Steenson, Gavin Pepper, you got the likes of Michael Brazel, Michelle Keane. You've got all these people that are doing all this. So I don't try and copy it. So for me, less is more. So I don't do it. So when I do it, it's like I'm trying to make a big impact that it lasts, because I'm not on the ground with it all the time. But what I am viewing is the like you go through Dublin. Dublin isn't Dublin anymore. It's just not.
I've seen it.
It's just not. It's just not. I go to a local place where my daughter goes to school, and or training college, as she likes to call it. And she's there, and I'm just looking at everybody that's putting up outside the creche. The Brazilians, the Somalians, the Afghans, they're all in 23, 24, 25-year cars. They're not working. If they are working, they're getting dole as well. This has been proven. This has been seen. This is not just speculation. This is not me just saying it. Whereas the ordinary Irish man, woman, Northern Irish man, woman, British man, woman are not entitled to these things. We've seen dockets where a Romani gypsy allegedly is getting €725 a week for nothing. And we as parents are working our asses off just to keep still. We're not even getting ahead. We're just staying still. And we can't afford to have children. And yet these people are coming in. They're outbreeding us.
Have you seen it progressing? Is it a situation where it's not stopping, it's getting worse and worse?
It is, because you see the people in the street. You see the problem we have now as to who we are and what we're calling out. If somebody in your community was, let's call them what they are, a dickhead, a prick, whatever, and you go up and say, you're out of order, blah, 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 say this for them. Same in my area. Because you're always going to have people that are decent, and there are always people that you're not. And there's people you're going to get on with, and you won't. The problem now is, if you say this to a Lithuanian man or a Latvian woman or an Afghan man, you're now racist.
We're seeing that. We're already seeing that now.
You can't call it out. That forget about their race or color or creed or religion. It's if they're just wrong and they're just bad ones. You can't even say anything, because you're just destroyed. So I just go for it. I do say everything. I called it out the other day. I said, you double park here all the time. You block up the whole place. You don't care about anybody else. You're rude. You're ignorant. You need to move. And fair dues, I think he got the fright of me when he see me the next morning, because when I pulled back in the next morning, he pulled off. Because there was places to park. But you had a catalyst with feeling your daughter and so on. My catalyst, I don't think, has come yet, because I've got a very vulnerable little girl. And when we go away anywhere, if my other half goes away, she's looking out the window and she's waiting to see when she's coming back. And if I go somewhere, she's looking out the window waiting to see when I'm coming back. There's going to be someday in the future, mate, we're not going to come back.
Yeah.
That's just simple.
Yeah.
And I worry that if it's your community, if it's my community, that we're not going to have the right people in place to look after my daughter if something happens to me and the other half when we go.
Yeah.
That's what I worry. I worry for the future, that I want the same people that's here now, that have empathy, that have heart, that have soul, that care, are going to look after people like my daughter. And there are going to be people here that will look after your daughter. And will bring up the same sort of traditions. I used to do this with your dad, and we used to go down here, and we used to go to this park, and we used to go swimming here.
So
that's all disappearing. That's all disappearing.
These fears are the fears that I have. The fears of the men here, the men that live here, people all around me. Is it misinformation? Is it fake? Is it far right?
No, it's not. It's not. Your eyes don't deceive you.
Yeah.
The problem is people don't want to tell the truth. You see, everything's been hijacked. Judiciary's been hijacked. Media's been hijacked. Banking has been hijacked. Police have been hijacked. Everything's been hijacked. It has been hijacked. It's not. It's happened. You went on about Tommy Robinson there and what he did in London a few weeks ago with getting 3 million people, right? Whether people like him or don't like him, he did an amazing thing. But look what Starmer did. He came straight out with a digital ID. Now, there's no way in the world I find Starmer an intelligent man. I can't believe he could have been the top barrister that he was. The top thing he did being a barrister was he got a law passed that he never has to pay tax.
Yeah, he's been a puppet the whole time.
He's been a puppet. He's a puppet.
Yeah.
We have bigger problems to worry about.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, what we're dealing is the mass migration.
Yeah.
And it's how we fix that. I think things can be reversed, and I look at, like, when I see.
So before you go on, we've been in East Belfast, we've been in the city centre, Shankill, city centre. So what do you see? What did your experience today? Is how different are we compared to what you see in Southern Ireland?
You're getting there. Being honest, you're getting there. This thing that everybody's shouting about down south, in my eyes, the way I see it, they're supposedly flying into Belfast and then they're travelling down by train and taxi drivers, which is happening.
Yes, we heard. We're reaching out to taxi drivers right now, and we will be bringing.
And they're coming down to Dublin and they're dropping them off, and they're going straight for the main iPass centre, and they're straight away being on the books, blah blah blah, and so on. But what's happening in small towns and villages down where we are, it's now starting to spread out. It's starting to just seep out like a moss, like a stain, like what's happening in Lough Neagh, right? It's just seeping out, and unfortunately, it's going to come back up here because, like, if you look at Ireland, the shape of Ireland, it's like a well. It's coming down. It's coming into small communities, and it's just welling up. It's going to come back in here to the small communities, and if anybody
it's going to overflow into Northern Ireland,
it's inevitable. It is inevitable, and anybody that's sitting there thinking I'm pretty okay in a well-off house in a well-off area, you're not a multimillionaire, but you're very well-to-do and very well off. It's coming. Yeah. You can't hide it. What I was amazed with today was the amount of young girls that were walking around in groups. Because if I was down in Limerick, I would be worried watching that.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah. I'm not just saying that to be sensationalist. Yeah. I just was looking, going, geez.
Well, I need to say this. I've had people over from England. I've had people over from Scotland, and they are saying the same things. Like said, where we are right now, it's in the summertime, the kids are running about. We're not at that situation yet, and nobody really understands what I'm talking about because they don't have that experience of the fear of what's coming. I've seen the fear of what's already there in Ireland. I've seen the fear of what's already there in England and Scotland. And believe me, like, it's not unless you've been there and you've seen it with your own eyes that you realize how lucky we truly are. And that's a good point to make, because it's a good point for me to make as well, that this is not the first time I've heard this.
Yeah, well, I lived in England.
Yeah.
I lived there for 20 years. Like, as I say, I used to run for Middlesex County. I used to run for London Irish Athletic Club. I ran for Salford Harriers in Manchester. I've achieved quite a lot in athletics. And I've been to those areas. I've been to Leicester and ran in Western Park when there was only three mosques. There's now 78. I've been to Oldham. I've been to Burnley. I've been to Blackburn. I've been to Bradford. I've been to Luton. I've been to Cambridge. You wouldn't believe how densely populated Cambridge, one of the top seats of universities, is with Muslims. It's absolutely unbelievable.
I've seen that.
And anybody thinks this is not coming. is absolutely and utterly away with the fairies. They're delusional because it is coming. And I can see it. And your services and everything you're entitled to is going to be squeezed more and more. Somebody told me the other day the reason they have to pick them up and they have to give them money straight away because when they're rescued at sea, it's maritime law, whereas we live on land.
Yeah.
And land law is different to maritime law.
Yeah.
So anybody that's found in maritime law is entitled, they say, to more of the services and being looked after than anybody that's here living on the land.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Right. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff you can research, and guys, you know, you can do your own research. We are here to highlight certain things, but we're not here to come out with the facts and figures and stats for you. You know, you can do all that yourselves. You just need to help yourselves this way to help your family and your loved ones and your other friends to spread the word. You know, but what I want to ask you, and maybe a difficult question, is the political state of Ireland. With all that's going on and what everybody can see, what's going wrong?
How do you mean what's going wrong?
What's going wrong politically? What's
what's going right?
Just with the different parties, because we're not really, you know, in Northern Ireland, we don't really understand it. Well, a lot of people don't understand it. You know, this the way the words are used, and there are quite a lot of Irish words, and it is, you know, it's just not our cup of tea in Northern Ireland, you know what I mean? But we are like changing, and this is what part of that change is understanding the political setup and structure of Ireland.
We do need to come together as communities,
yeah,
right? But we need to respect, like I respect what your thing is. It's like I'm not going to bring, let's say, chocolate chip cookies and you don't like chocolate chip cookies and I'm telling you got to eat chocolate chip cookies and you like chocolate hobnobs and telling me I got to eat chocolate hobnobs but I don't like them, but we can sit down and have a cup of coffee,
of course,
you know what I mean? So there has to be a meeting ground, and then just respect your other identities as to what you're into.
So
I can't
political solution. Are you using
the political solution? The political solution was there in the last couple of years. The problem is they brought in so many foreigners that, like, it took 5 years one time to become an Irish citizen. It was then brought down to 3 years. And the majority of people were brought in by Alan Shatter, who's a Jew, into Ireland to bring Muslims in, right? And there was a big push in that. I couldn't understand it at the time, but now I can see it because it was for votes. And what's happened is they can get Irish citizenship within 6 months and then can bring as many of their family from Accra in Nigeria or wherever in Yemen or wherever in Somalia.
And we're talking cousins, aunties, uncles.
Everything. They're entitled to come. And what a lot of people don't realize, back in 2003, 2004, a lot of Nigerian and Ghanaian women were told, come to Ireland pregnant and have a child in Ireland. And once you have the child in Ireland, they get a passport and you can bring all your family. So there was the kind of, what we've seen now was kind of snuck in around the back door before we ever realized it. The problem is the political thing. Now,
that's what I'm saying. Have the right wing got a grasp of it? I
don't think people are awake. And that's why I wanted to talk to you and kind of give what's going on with my side of things.
Yeah.
The political thing now, that if you could do it, like, we want the British system, and the British want our system. And our system should be, if we had the British system, we'd be ahead because independence would be in.
Yeah.
If you had our system, the likes of Reform or whoever, Advance, they'd be in. But they're not, and it's deliberate. That's deliberately done.
Yeah.
Now they've realised people have cottoned on, because you only look at the referendum that we won last year, where the mother was going to be trying out the Constitution, and family was going to be trying out the Constitution. And they wanted to bring in a different name, which meant that anybody could come into the country under that description, right? Yes. It could be a guy that marries with 10 wives, and so on. That now is the problem, because they've made Irish citizens. Their voting thing is way up on us. There has to be a collapse in government. You only have to look what happened to Maria Steen in terms of the election and how that was done. And she was wanting to go for it. We've independents that we've elected in different parts of the country who wouldn't vote for and voted with the government to keep her out. A voice that could change and challenge the political scene, but they didn't do it. Eventually, I think the political scene will implode. I think eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be an implosion.
Who's the biggest problems in Ireland politically at the minute?
Or Simon Harrison, or Tánaiste, and Micheál Martin, or Taoiseach. They are the two biggest problems. But they've got great backup. The likes of Helen McEntee and stuff, with the decisions they've made. Roderick O'Gorman giving out tweets to 9 different countries to come. We'll have a house within 6 months.
Just like Angela Merkel did with Germany.
Whatever, exactly. So they opened it up. And this can all be verified and checked. It's not me saying anything new. It's just a lot of people might know it. and be exposed to it because we're coming from a different system down so. But I am telling you, you guys are in for the mother of all awakening in the next year unless you get things right.
Yeah, well,
It's coming. Walking through Belfast today, I could see the different funnels, and some of them are probably nice people.
Diversity,
but,
yes,
but
diversity is what they say.
But when it gets to saturation level, you'll see it.
Well, we are seeing it. Let's be honest. We are seeing it. There is problems. We've got most of our security men now in most shops and most Asda's and Morrison's and McDonald's are Muslim men. Well, that's the facts. It is majority Muslim men. We see Sandy Row in decline. We see men hanging about. There's men walking about the streets of East Belfast. There's a lot going on, and there has been like the East Belfast First Division, where a group of concerned parents who came together started walking the streets at night, and they didn't go too well with the government because they didn't like the style and they didn't like the language, But like we were saying, because we're awake and we're living this nightmare, we know exactly what's coming, we know exactly what's happening in Ireland, we know exactly what's happening in England and Scotland, and it's emotional. It's very emotional. When you awake, when the rest of the country awakes, they're going to be just like the rest of us right now. And I don't think the government realise that how much we are awake and how much we know, and it is coming out, and we are being attacked. We are being attacked by the newspapers. We have got guys being arrested, being bailed with conditions. We know that what they're being arrested for, they're not going to be found guilty for.
We're having the same down the south. There's paedophiles being brought in front, and the judge is just putting them straight back out the door.
Yeah,
and that's been documented left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be a case from 2003 where a guy called Love had set a precedent, and he was let go because he was an American citizen, and because of that, now they're letting all these paedophiles go. You say hurty words on a meme or a tweet or a vlog. It's 18 months. It's 31 months. You only have to look at what happened to Peter Lynch in England. You only have to look at what's that lady that went in for 31 months and stuff. I can't think of her name, but that's the sort of people they're going after. And there's other people that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
See, the other thing as well,
Lucy Connolly.
Lucy Connolly, that's the one, right? But
I thought Michelle Keane, because she's been in prison as well.
Yeah. But put this. It's nothing anybody understands. They understand economics. Anybody now in Northern Ireland or Britain or Ireland wants to buy a house, they're going to be outbidded by a Muslim family if they put in for it. And the reason is because Muslim families and Muslim people don't pay harib. So let's say you wanted to buy a property.
Let me get this, because this is not something that we can just rush through. So what is the word again that you're using?
Harib.
Harib. So can you explain what harib is?
Harib means right.
Yeah.
They don't pay any interest.
Muslims.
Yeah. It's against the law. It's against their religion. They don't pay anything at all.
Okay.
So right.
Okay.
Now, they don't also accrue interest, but 99 times out of 100, they don't really have bank accounts. True Muslims, right? So what happens is, if you want to go in for a property, and let's say the property is 300,000, right? So you've 300,000, but you've 335 set aside because all of a sudden you have to pay, stamp duty,
and
interest, and whatever, and the legal fees.
Yeah.
They don't pay that. They don't pay that. So their buying power is
Does anybody pay it?
Well, we have to pay it.
Right.
But what happens is, it's not the person as well that's going for the thing. What happens is the mosque comes in and pays off the thing full whack. Right. So basically, if they have a 25-year mortgage, the mosque comes in, bang. So the family then pay back the mosque. But what they do in paying back the mosque, it might be $3,000 this year because they're trying to get in their fees. But it could be 30 grand the following year. It could be 7 grand, 19 grand, 26 grand, 4 grand. But they pay it off. Yeah. But they're not under the same stipulations and deals that you have to do, in terms of that you've handed over your money and then you're handing over the deeds to the house. So the bank have you by the short and colours. Mm-hmm. And if you look what's happening now, we're paying property charges and all that sort of stuff. You miss out on something that they can still take your house off you, even though you've paid and bought for it. So they're okay in terms of their buying power, and they buy in groups, which is massive. And that's what's happening down my way. There's houses now being bought, which you would never thought been bought for the money they've been bought for, because these people are now branching out. And they don't pay interest. They don't pay interest in their businesses. If they go in and say open a shop, it's 2 years tax-free. Then they only have to move across the road, change the name, same shop, different name, another 2 years tax-free. That's what's going on. We're being scammed left, right, and centre. So you're doing anything honest, you're up against it. But you look at how exactly. But look at how many businesses are closing.
Yeah.
Look how many pubs are closing. The cost of living crisis. We shouldn't be paying that. You shouldn't be paying that.
We're the second dearest in the world
We
for
are.
gas and
Well,
electricity.
I can't. I don't know what it's up here, but
That's-
but down our way, it's.
Yeah.
You're shoving
So-
it in money into.
So
like,
let's move on to the really difficult stuff right now. So you're from Southern Ireland. I'm from Northern Ireland. How do we know the problems in Ireland? We know the risks to Northern Ireland. We know what's coming. How do we fix this without bringing another border, without bringing more division between the two of us? Because it is a double-edged sword. Yes, we need to talk, but what if the talking doesn't work? What if you don't get the right government in? What if you keep overfilling like you say you're going to overfill and come into Northern Ireland? What do we do in Northern Ireland?
Well, I think the protesting has done a lot, but it can only do so much.
Mhm.
For me, the way I see it is that if you take Budweiser in America, and it was being put out there as the king of beers, and then it became the king of queers and stuff like that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of that guy. I
Yes,
can't
that's
remember,
right,
Mulaney or Delaney or whatever his
Delaney,
name
I
is.
think
Right,
his name was, yeah.
right. He ran that company into the ground because people decided to boycott it. Going forward, I think if it was me, what I would be doing is I would be targeting whatever.
Because
that you-
Netflix, another example was
Well,
Netflix.
Netflix the other day brought out 2 children's cartoons for 7-year-olds, and anybody who hasn't seen this can check this out and look this up. This is absolutely vile, and it was about teaching children to have anal sex, masturbation, all in this video for 7-year-olds. Right? Children are our real windows
Yeah.
of the soul, but they're innocent. They should always be kept innocent
Yeah,
as long
I'd be
as
really
possible.
angry if my daughter was.
And it's happening. It's in the school curriculums in Ireland. This is happening. This is in Britain. This is happening. You go into libraries, they have people dressed as prostitutes and everything to read out.
We had
stuff.
one in East Belfast. Yes.
and it's there, right? And they can lie all they want and say it's not happening. But what happened the other day is Netflix absolutely crashed in the stock market. The amount of people that pulled their subscriptions. So if you want to get anywhere, whether it be a newspaper, whether it be a business that's entitled to like an NGO or whatever that is supporting whatever, you need to go after them. But we also need certain people to come out and speak up, Mark.
Yeah.
Right, I'll give an example. I spoke to a guy last year. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was going around different places to say our communities are getting all these people coming into hotels, they're coming into community centres, they're taking it over, the government have bought them, they're paying massive money to these people, like 25 million and stuff, that are taking the money and screwing their own Irish people. And I turned around and said, well, that's grand. I said, but why aren't the superstars in the GAA or whatever coming out that are playing for a county, whatever county that be, Cork, Donegal, Carlow, Leitrim, Dublin, and saying, no, this is not happening in our community. You're not doing this. You're not putting our young daughters and sons at risk of these people living 50 yards from a school. None of them are speaking out. None of the actors I know, comedians I know, superstars I know in soccer, in Gaelic football, and they should be speaking out. They're silent.
Same as the church.
Same, yeah. But that is, I did see something yesterday where Hugh Grant spoke out about Starmer. And I thought, that's the first I've seen since Ricky Gervais and Matt Letizia in the soccer.
Yeah.
I've seen nobody else.
Mhm.
That's the way to go. That you hurt, you don't, it's no violence. You're doing nothing hurtful to anybody, but you target a business and you say, we're not supporting you anymore. You're done. It's over. And that's going to get people talking, because if you switch that to different counties, with 32 counties, and they all say, right, we're going to start trying to bring down certain places and make a feel it in the pocket, you start to get heads turning.
I just don't think that, I just don't think like people will give up the things that they want in life. They don't see the bigger picture. If we were to say, right, we need to boycott, we see the Palestine supporters boycotting anything to do with Israel, and I don't know how much effect it has, but I imagine they will work a lot effectively than we would. Like there's people that try to boycott Deliveroo and Just Eat, but it's something that people will keep on using. So it's something, that's a difficult one. I get what you're saying, and it's
well. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it has to be the next. You see, everything's about timing and how you get to the next level.
Yeah.
So what didn't work 6 months ago could be right for the plucking right now.
Yeah.
And I think if they feel like, well, we've done all the protesting, we didn't want to get into that field, we now think this is the option we've got to do and go forward with it.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. Yeah. And it needs to come from people, the likes of, let's say, I'm not telling Tommy Robinson or anybody what they should do, but if I were him, I'd say, right, lads, we can do more. We can get 4 million the next time. but Starmer's still going out saying we need to have ID cards.
And still calling them everybody far right.
If he came out
Mhm.
and said, yeah, right, we need to target Deliveroo or whatever, blah blah blah, I think people would listen. They're not going to listen
Yeah.
to John Downs
Yeah, of course.
because I'm giving an idea. But look, we're trying our best. You're doing this because you care about your community.
Do you think there's violence on the horizon? Do you think there's a civil war on the
Oh,
horizon?
without doubt, without that, because people are coming away from the protests and they're actually saying, "What's next?
Yeah.
What's next?" Because like we've protested, and like we're going around in circles here. So it's within people. They want that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that not playing into their hands?
That's the problem. They want that. They're pushing because if they do, they can bring in martial law.
So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Well, no, you. For me, I think if you hit enough businesses, they'll all go. Hang on a second. You hit enough, like most of the charities, NGO.
Mhm.
You just got to stop donating. I called it out. I called this out way back in 2010 with all the charities, and I said they're coming into running because nothing comes back. I said it kind of started video, but because there was people inside, like there was the woman in rehab getting 365,000 a year, 1,000 a day. She was supposed to be going to rehab, right? So you got Down syndrome, you got autism, you got all these different things, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same money for the same old rope.
Yeah.
It's not like they've added anything new in some of the services.
Okay.
For other services, yes, in terms of mental health and Pieta House and people that every day they're helping somebody. But in other things, it's money for something that they actually got across the line 20, 25 years ago.
Money's not filtering through the...
No, it's going to people, right? It's just coming up, but it's being controlled, right? So where they're fearful is the likes of Soros controls all these NGOs. There's 36,000 NGOs in Ireland. 36,000. And basically, they're all getting paid. Now, if they go against climate change, if they go against the LGBT community, if they go against X, Y, or Z,
they lose their funding.
Gone. So when they've gone in, they haven't realised what they're actually signing to. Mm. And I get it. They've mortgages. They've got to put food on the table. But at the end of the day, we're all going to lose. It's even them, they're eventually going to lose. It's just a case that they're choking us at the moment. And unfortunately, it's fit to survive. We've got to choke them back. Not violently, but you understand me, you've got to hurt them in the pocket. Yeah. That they turn around and say, hang on a second, we need to do something here. They're coming for us here now. Yeah. We're hurting on the ground. They're the front line.
Yeah. And this is what you got to remember, guys, as well. You know, we're not politicians. We're you know, I can't speak for John, but I'm not the brightest, you know, as qualifications and everything go, you know, streetwise maybe, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? But, you know, this is difficult. We're just fathers, innit? We're just fathers, and we don't have the answers for yous. But yous need to know that this is a problem. We're being gaslit. You know, we're being silenced. The attacks that you see in East Belfast on Pinky and his brothers, on Glenn, on me in the newspapers. It's not just about them, about the shady past. You know, like I say, there's nobody else coming up right now, guys. This is all you've got. You know what I mean? We don't have men like John right now, but we do. There's some men out there, but they're not doing YouTubes. They're not coming out on the streets. They're not speaking about it. They're not getting interviewed by Freedom Dad. You know what I mean? And like I say, we don't have the answers. We really don't have the answers, but we need to brainstorm as a community, as two countries. We need to brainstorm. I'm
not saying everything I say is right. It's an idea. And somebody go, that's brilliant. Or they can say, John, that's leaking like a sieve. It's got holes all over. Yeah. And I have no problem hearing that because I have no ego.
Yeah, of course.
Like people think, what do I want out of this? I don't want a position.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I'm talking to you.
No, I just want things to be sorted. Yeah. And what I will say to your viewers and stuff like that is, people like this man here, forget about the past. It's about changing your life, and it's about evolving, and it's about trying to be better than you were the day before. It's about trying to bring care. This man has got courage to do what he's doing, which a lot of people probably doubted that he had. He's got a heart to try and put it out in his sleeve to say, I want to protect not just my daughter, but my community and the people within it, and to show that I actually love them and care about them. I am of the same thing with what I'm trying to do with athletics and people where I live, but that's what it is. So kudos to you, what you're doing. Kudos to how you go about it.
You haven't seen nothing yet. We're only in second gear. We're only in second gear, you know.
I'm a great time for you because you're actually trying. Yeah. And we need people like that.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have done what I've done because of you.
Thank you.
And that's not just kissing your ass. That's
no, I
being
appreciate
truthful,
that.
you know?
We only want honesty, and when it's good stuff, like, bring it on. You know what I mean? But thank you for that. Like, I am humbled by anybody that even watches me, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. But I also want to say as well, before we finish off on that, so you've been around, you know, some Protestants, you know, there's been, you know, it's all been Protestants, you know, and some ex-loyalists as well. And how have you felt today? How all the men that you've met, can you tell how you've been treated and stuff like that? Your feelings?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I've actually probably got better treated than I would by my own, in fairness. You know what I mean? No, I take people as I meet them and see them.
And you can see that, Jamie, when you have the conversations that we've had today about religion and the how things have changed. You know, you can see they're not just, like you say, kissing, but you can see the men are being genuine. There's no hidden, you know, we wear hearts or sleeves. Yes, we're prods, we're unionists. You know, we are who we are, but it doesn't mean we can't sit down and talk to our neighbours. You know what I mean?
I've been competing with that all my life. That when we were running, let's say, the All Ireland schools and stuff like that, how we were running against Annandale Striders or whoever, they were majority Protestants.
Yeah.
They're some of the best people I get on with now, still, because we did athletics and because we trained in all sorts of conditions and all sorts of weather and ran cross country and ran 100 miles a week and whatever, blah, blah. We understand there's a respect for what we do. And it didn't matter what job background they came from, what religion background they came from. We understood each other on
so what you're basically saying, no matter what the backgrounds, that background was left in the house, and then they came to athletics.
And it was opened up. It didn't matter if you were a rat catcher, a drayman, a journalist, a barrister, a plasterer,
bank robber, a hunter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and this thing that you're maligned and that you're actually pigeonholed to say this is what he is and this is what he'll be forever. I don't believe that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I don't believe that.
I used to believe in rehabilitation and all the rest of it, but since Freedom Dads came along, you know, I mean, they've got a problem with me, with my shady past, but they don't seem to have a problem with Sinn Féin as much, you know what I mean, with their shady past, which, you know, is nothing compared to what, you know, is in the papers about me, you know, and that's the truth. It's got to be fair.
Well, no, it should be taken on its merit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they don't want to see merit. As I said, the judiciary, the media, they're all complicit. They're all bad.
So, how long do you think you have got in the Republic of Ireland, or Southern Ireland, before it's irreversible?
I give it a year. It's that bad.
Yeah,
it is that bad. It's simple as that. The Irish will be a minority in their own country. They're on about 10, 20 years. What I'm looking at and seeing, no.
And
it's just a tsunami, man. It is. Pointless people saying it's not. It is a tsunami.
Do you think there could be changes made if they change the voting? If they stop them voting, if they put a 10-year bar on them coming in, because I don't believe a man can come from Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Africa, even Ukraine, and come in here after 6 months and decide the future of our children, our grandchildren. I don't think that's right, because they've no experience of our culture.
Hang on, it's not. It doesn't matter even if they're they come here and they get the passport. Your DNA is you're a Protestant and Northern Irishman.
Yeah.
My DNA is I'm a Catholic and I'm a Southern Irishman.
Yeah.
That's my DNA.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I can go back 150 years and we came from Liverpool. I think we were Protestants originally, but we came from Liverpool over to Ireland.
I think we were all Catholics, Roman Catholics, and then we had to split because of the books in the Bible, and we became Protestants. We were protestant against the 6 or 7 books. I think we believe it's Greek mythology. You believe it's the Word of God, and that's basically what it comes down to. That I believe, you know, if you want to just like explain it in layman's terms, probably a wee bit more to it. You know, don't hang like, but that's what I think, and it isn't. This is the time that we need to start looking at the difference between Protestants and Catholics, and looking at, like I say, the differences. What are the differences? Let's list the differences. Let's see how different we truly are, and let's look at them differences. You know what I mean? Because there's not many differences. We aren't that different, you know. And as we go forward, everything that's going to happen to them is going to happen to us, and you know, there's going to be no difference there. You know, and that's important, guys. You know what I mean? There's going to be no difference with our children, whether they're Protestant or Catholic. Well, it doesn't make a difference.
They'll be told to choose that they have to become Muslim. Yeah. They'll be told that they have to accept it. If they don't, they'll have to pay a tax. And if they don't do either, it is in the Quran. Yeah. They will take care of you. And that means.
Well, guys, like I say, this is what it's about. And I want to say thank you so much for coming through and speaking to Freedom Dad. And I think it's amazing. And I'm going to get the link up. What's your YouTube channel, if you can just...
Oh, I can't even remember. I'll be straight up with you. I can't remember.
I'll put the link on.
I think it's just John Downs or something. I'd have to go and check it.
And on Facebook, it's John Downs, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's JOHNDOWNES. The name's in the title of the video. Okay, so if you go on the Facebook, give him a like, give him some love, and we'll sort a link out for you on your Facebook to get you the YouTube channel up and going, and you can carry on doing what you're doing and help and awaken as many people of your countrymen as you can. And I'll keep doing what I'm doing.
I will do this kind of part time because I concentrated so much on the athletic side.
It's hard work. It's hard work, mate. This is really difficult.
It is, and I'm getting resolutions in that. I've had CEOs fired, and I've had the welfare and safeguarding team have had to step down and everything because of the BS that's going on. Too long to go into. But I will be coming back on doing stuff when I feel it's right, because I just think for me less is more. You guys are out there every day. You've got Lindsey Brown up here as well. You got all these
Richard
Lindsey
Brown, Stevie Baker, Richard and men. You know, we got the boys.
So you keep
going.
going.
The boys in the shank, all the boys and women, and they're everywhere. Ballymena. We call them the concerned parents, men and women. Like I say, I say granddads and all
to
that.
them, and I've never met you. Keep going. Fair dues to you, because it's a lonely crusade. A lot of you. We met people today, and they've been there for nearly 6 years with the same thing.
Flag protest, and the other guys.
The other guys,
about the
WEF and stuff like that. And it's hard, you know. Sometimes you need a boost. Keep going.
Yeah, we got the guys in Bangor. 2.5 years they've been down there, probably more than 2.5 years, because I'm saying that for a wee while now. They've been down there protesting outside the hotel, and it is really, we are in a battlefield. Us guys, Patriots, people who are doing a wee bit, everybody around me, the Freedom Dad team, all the concerned parents, all the different groups that are popping up all over Northern Ireland right now are on a battlefield, and we are in the firing line, guys. You know, we need help. We need you to recognize what we're doing, and we need the help. We need you to support the men who are being persecuted by the PSNI, being persecuted by any media. A sustained attack coming from all directions, you know, to silence us, to shut us up, you know. And like I say, all you got to do to the people, like, this is my message to the politicians and the people that don't like me: step up and take over. I'll step down. You know, you do what needs to be done, and I won't be here doing what I'm doing. So on that note, mate, we're going to get back up this road, get you back onto the boat and stuff like that.
Thank you very much.
Not
You're
a problem,
good man.
mate.
You're a good man.
Thank you so much. And it's been an absolute pleasure. If anybody wants to throw up any questions, I can see that it's up on the screen here, mate. Great listening to you, the Doghouse. Great listening to you both. Take care and stay safe, guys. 40 pants, LOL. Ursher
up here.
Yeah, you'll know some of these guys. Ursher Chick, well done. Oldie man, great stuff, lads. We all have to unite, both north and south, to defend those trying to displace us all. Yeah, well said. Chilly man, I think that is. I don't know how many. Right to be right. That's, you met him today. Right to be right. Thank you, John. He's saying. Ryan, great collab, lads. Thank you, Ryan. Lady J, hello, Freedom Dad. Well done. Good chat. Thank you so much. Wee bit bunkers. Thank you, wee bit bunkers. Foxy lad, take it easy, FD and John. Thank you so much. An amazing chat. Thank you so much, guys. I hope it came across okay. Like I say, it's all new. It's new to us, you know, and you know, it isn't easy for two men that come from two different sides of the border of Ireland to do this. There's going to be flack coming from, you know, you've seen what happened to Michelle, when you seen what happened to me going down the south. It isn't easy, but we are taking small steps. You know, we are taking small steps. Our appeal to the people in Ireland and the people in Northern Ireland who are still holding on to some of the past, you know, please, guys, you know, we aren't your enemy. You know, I'm not your enemy. This is to the Irish in Ireland, to the Protestants and Unionists. He's not your enemy. And it's time to wise up, you know, and I don't say that in a detrimental way of wising up. It's just like, you know, some of you do know the crack and you are just holding off. Don't hold off. We need you to step up now. It's time to step up in Northern Ireland, because we need to help Ireland. We need to help Ireland, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to hold back the wave. And you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. And we'll keep doing this. We'll keep bringing people, and we'll keep chatting. We'll get StreamYards. I'm going to have John on again on a StreamYard, so he doesn't have to travel, and he can just sit at the home, and we'll have him up on the screen, and we will be interacting and communicating with other people like me from the south of Ireland, and we will be making links, and we will be bringing together the patriots of this island. You know, whether you like it or not, you know, it is happening. We are doing it. And, you know, no matter what happens to me, there's going to be 100 men come after me, you know, and that's the way it is, because people now know that Freedom Dad and John, they aren't far right, they aren't racist. We aren't here giving out misinformation. It's factual. It's happening. It's happening right now. It's happening in front of your eyes. The government are doing everything they can to stop you finding out. They're using the papers. They're using the BBC. They're using Channel 4. You know, they're using every tactic that they used in England to, but they leave England in the state it's in today, you know, and that's always been my warning. You know, they use silence. Their weapon is to silence us. Our weapon is to get even louder. And we are going to get louder and louder. And like I say, you don't know what's coming. We are only in second gear. And we are going to do everything to stop the traitorous government destroying the future of our children, the future of our grandchildren, and the future of our lands, both north and the south. And maybe after it all, one day we'll all become good friends and we'll never forget how we helped each other in the past. And that's for our children to deal with. That's not for us men here to deal with now. All we can do is lay the foundations for communications to go forward. So maybe one day our kids will look back and look at the situation and go, well, you know, look, we couldn't have done that unless we were together. So there's hope. There's hope. You know what I mean? And we're not asking for United Ireland. We're not asking for, you know, can't speak for John, but, you know, my feeling is people don't have the stomach for that right now. You know, that's something that our kids will need to decide in the future. I think if anything at the minute, like the Irish language, what's going on with the Protestant Unionist community from Sinn Féin, and, you know, other things and tactics that are happening to the Patriots in Ireland, it's all to, you know, it's all the silences, it's all to keep us down, and it's all to progress the mass immigration and the Islamification of a Christian country like Ireland. And, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So thank you again, mate. I'm going to wrap it up because we, you know, been on the go. As you know, we're Patriots are non-stop, and I'm just going to jump up. I'm going to just let the clown Republicans know that put death threats on us women and their clowns, and they don't scare me. Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's on both sides, and there is, like I say, we are going to keep reaching out to the Republican side, and give them a chance to come to a realization that they need to stop what they're doing. You know, they need to stop creating division, and they need to stop the carry on with Palestine. And we all need to stop that. We all need to concentrate on our own country. And, you know, if you want to go back to that later on and go back to your causes, whatever, like I say, if you want to go back to fighting, you know, okay, but let's sort this out first. You know what I mean? Because I truly believe after we sort this out together, we will never, ever fight against each other ever again. Thank you so much for the love, guys. I don't know how many's on. What time is it? It is. I'm going to be on the road for a wee while. I won't be coming live again tonight, but I will come live tomorrow night, 110%. Hope you like the videos from Belfast. And as always, guys, God bless. Oh. Thank you, mate. That's absolutely brilliant.